Like Bronco was saying here, General Brancato, my journey has taken me from Alabama to California to Wyoming to Oklahoma to Washington State to Nevada to North Carolina to Virginia, back to North Carolina, back to Virginia, and I've had the privilege of visiting 48 of the 50 states flying the C-17. I've had the opportunity to serve in Africa, Germany, Italy, Qatar, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and I have explored too many countries, islands, and oceans to name. And now it all comes down to this moment. So thank you all for here to be witness for this fun. I cannot memorize everything like the general here, so I do have notes. You know, at 13 years old, I learned my first lesson about life and service from baseball. Picture this, there's 70 kids in the fading sunlight watching the shadows across the infield dirt, and each one of us praying our name would be called amongst those 15 seventh graders. Spoiler alert, mine wasn't. But don't worry, this isn't turning into a country song. I didn't lose my dog, my truck, or my girlfriend. That moment, though, it taught me something profound about service. Sometimes life's greatest strikeouts lead us to our true home plate. Amen. That summer, I turned disappointment into determination. Every missed swing became a lesson in persistence. Though looking back now, maybe getting cut was the universe's way of saying, kid, your future is in flying airplanes, not flying baseballs. Speaking of life lessons, let me tell you about the night I learned about consequences. At 14, I made the brilliant decision, plug your ears, Grayson, you're only 13, that I was going to sneak out of the house. And when I came home at 2 a.m., I found my mother sitting at the kitchen table. You know that look that moms have that can turn you to stone. You especially know. I stood outside the garage door like a character in a horror movie contemplating my imminent doom. The conversation that followed would echo through the decades. Son, you're at a fork in the road. You can be a winner, you can be a loser, but that decision is yours and yours alone. So today, standing before you, my family, my friends, my fellow service members, I realized how right she was. Life is built on these moments of choice. These forks in the road that define not just who we are, but who we choose to become. Life has a funny way of teaching us its most valuable lessons in the most unexpected places. Before joining the Air Force, I started off as a busboy, then becoming a server at a fine dining steak restaurant. Before the prep kitchen steam and the dining room chaos, I learned more about human nature and emotional intelligence than in my college classrooms. I watched the heavily tattooed African-American server command the floor like a symphony conductor. He was making six figures in the 90s when the rest of us were struggling to make $30,000 a year. Through pure charisma and psychological insight. When waiting on customers, he never used a notepad. Customers would nervously ask him, hey, are you going to write this down? No, I've got it all up here. He never made a mistake. His abilities to work with perfect strangers taught me more than I ever imagined. Every difficult customer taught me diplomacy. Every rushed dinner service taught me crisis management. Every team shift taught me leadership. These weren't just carving skills, they were life skills that would serve me throughout my military career. The emergency room taught me different lessons. Between the gunshot victims and level 1 traumas and that unmistakable antiseptic smell that I swear still lives on some of my clothes, I learned that life can change faster than a pilot can say, hold my beer. It was there that I met the retired military flight docs, and they saw something in me that I'm not sure what they saw, but one retired Air Force doctor suggested I join the service. I said, there's absolutely no way. I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. and do push-ups and have people yell at me all day. And Dr. Morris, he laughed. He's like, no, the Air Force, not the Army. So then came Maxwell Air Force Base. Picture this, 6 buses full of civilians lining up in the humid air, getting ready to cross the blue line. Instructors climbed aboard with words that cut sharper than my mother's disappointment. Look at the person next to you. Statistically, one of you will not make it. I was young, confident. I was definitely cocky. I could run 6-minute miles already. 70 push-ups in a minute, no problem. But standing before that blue line, watching the first recruit step across and get swarmed by screaming instructors, you know what I'm saying. Kelly. Let's just say I learned sometimes the biggest battles aren't physical. Like Richard Gere in Officer and Gentleman, I thought to myself, I've got nowhere else to go. To my family here today, please take a moment, look to your left and look to your right. Honestly, everybody, look to your left and look to your right. Even if you don't know the person sitting next to you, realize they played a critical role in this journey. It takes a village. And every one of you were part of that village that brings us here today in celebration. Some of you were there during those high school challenges, like when I broke my hand skiing, gave myself frostbite during rehab, and nearly missed an entire baseball season. Others witnessed the college journey, supporting me as I chased my baseball dreams to Hilo, Hawaii, 2,500 miles away from home. And some of you were there when I returned, working double shifts, waiting tables while serving as an EMT at the trauma center. You are my village. You are my tribe. Each of you played a crucial part in this journey. The hardest moments often teach us the most. I remember sitting in Djibouti, Africa, watching my youngest son's first birthday through a computer screen. For 2 hours, tears streamed down my face as I watched the celebration from thousands of miles away. Missing his first cake, his first party songs, his first meaningful celebration. But you know what? That birthday became our family's most meaningful celebration. Not despite my absence, but because of what it represented. It stood for something bigger than ourselves, a reminder that service often demands our hardest choices for our highest purposes. To my military family, you understand these choices because you've lived them. From cockpits to combat zones, we've shared the weight of decisions that change lives forever. I remember one mission in Las Vegas. I was flying drones, watching patterns of life unfold through a screen. For weeks, I observed people with their families going to work, to worship, living their lives. Then came the call for a hellfire strike. 45 seconds is the time of flight. As my finger rested on that trigger, a trigger that would change my destiny forever. That's all it took to end the life, to save others. That moment changed everything for me. Shifting my focus from taking lives to saving them. Lars, you're right. I'm sorry. Thank you. To making every decision count towards protecting and nurturing life rather than ending it, I will forever live with these consequences in my heart. Consequences like the one of my best friend, Sean, taking his own life. Sean introduced me to my wife, was a groomsman in our wedding, and he was treated like family. My in-laws treated him as if he was their own son. Sean used to joke about owing all of his happiness in my life to him. And he was right. He was my number one supporter. He used to tell people when I was a young captain that I was going to be a colonel someday. Sadly, I didn't answer the phone the night he took his own life. Another consequence I'll carry with my life, throughout my life. Sean, buddy, I hope you know you changed more lives than you ever realized. These moments in a kitchen at 2 a.m., on a screen in Africa, behind a drone console in Las Vegas, they're all connected by a single thread, the choice to serve something bigger than ourselves. Every step of this journey has been supported by 3 pillars: faith that guided me, family that grounded me, and friends who sustained me. To my incredible wife of almost 21 years, you've been my North Star through deployments and decisions, through missed birthdays and midnight returns. We used to joke that I had more Thanksgivings with President Bush in our first 4 years of marriage than we had together. That final year flying C-17s out of McCord, I was gone 270 days. Numbers that still make me wonder how you didn't change the locks. But we made a promise. Unless deployment separated us, we were always going to be together. And that's why this retirement's here today. I wasn't going to move for Wing Command and be away from my family and miss my son's senior year in high school for the uniform. There's more ways to serve. I never imagined meeting someone like you. Someone who understood the price of sacrifice. Someone whose endless support and enthusiasm was something I felt I never deserved. You've given me more than I could have ever dreamed of. Thank God for Sean and his matchmaking skills. Though I'm pretty sure he's up there right now saying, dude, see, I told you so. To my children, Zachary and Grayson, you've grown up watching that service means not just in uniform. You've learned that leadership isn't about giving orders, but about giving yourself to something bigger. Your sacrifice as military kids has taught me more about courage than any training ever could. I hope you realize how much I love you both. And I know I've missed milestones, but I hope you never forget that I did all this for you. Every mission, every deployment, every sacrifice was to make this world a little bit better for you guys. And someday when you're older, I hope you'll look back at all these moves and see the resilience it instilled in you. How many kids can say they've seen the world like you have? I mean, you have pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower as a kid. I mean, that just doesn't happen. That strength, that adaptability you've gained, that's something most kids your age will never understand. So this sticker here, and I think all of you have one, this sticker represents more than rank or achievement. It represents every choice, every sacrifice, every moment that brought us here. While I may be retiring from active duty, my commitment to service continues through Voice for Valor, my way of giving back to this institution and this culture that shaped me, that taught me the power of purpose-driven living. It's my way of continuing Sean's legacy, of being there for veterans and first responders, because sometimes the strongest thing we can do is simply be there for each other. So let me salute you to those forks in the road that guide us, to the families who support us, and to the purpose that drives us. From that baseball field to this podium, from taking lives to saving them, every choice, every sacrifice, every moment has led to here. And while this chapter may be ending, our story, our family story of service, sacrifice, and love continues on. Thank you. Thank you.
Nicely done.
I'm trying to keep it together. Thank you, brother. Thanks for helping out.
Great job. I'm honored.
Miss Erica. Thank you, Miss Erica. Love you. Thank you so much.